China is one of the largest countries in the whole world. In Asia continent, China beholds half of its position. Being one of the largest countries, China has many geographic and environmental elements which make China a rich country. Along with other environmental elements, China has some biggest desert. In China, there is total 11 deserts, and these are contained with inhabitants. Among all the deserts, Gobi Desert is currently in spotlight in China. Gobi Desert is situated in China's Mongolia. A few people know about Mongolia and Gobi Desert. It is one of the driest deserts in the world. China is in an intense race against time to stop the southern advance of the Gobi Desert, which threatens the prosperity of the whole country. It's been a tough fight, but China has a crazy plan to turn the desert into a verdant forest. What is China doing to prevent the spread of the Gobi Desert? Whatever China is intending to do with Gobi Desert, this shocked the whole world. We will know about China and its plan with Gobi Desert throughout this video. China is the third largest country in the world, after Russia and Canada. However, only 15% of the country is good for agriculture, and most of this land is on the central eastern coast and along around the Yangtze and Yellow River valleys. About 34% of China is covered by pastures and 14% by forests. Mountains cover 58% of China. Deserts cover 28%. Plains and basins cover around 35%. Among this 28% of deserts, beholds 11 deserts. The western half of the country is mostly desert. The central and southern portions of the country is covered with rugged mountains, and the northeast is heavily forested and bitterly cold in the winter. China also embraces rainforests, fog-shrouded coasts, evergreen forests, misty green mountains, vulnerable floodplains, and vast steppes. The western part of China is the home of the Tarim Basin and Taklamakan Desert, two of the driest and most desolate regions in the world, and the Kanshan Mountains. However, among these deserts, Gobi Desert is the fifth largest desert in China. The Gobi Desert is a vast, arid region in northern China and southern Mongolia. The Gobi Desert Basin lies across southern Mongolia and northwestern China between the Mongolian Altai and Kangay Mountains and the Himalayan Plateau. The Gobi Desert, the world's fifth largest desert, is the most famous of the 11 deserts that span China. The name Gobi comes from the Mongolia word Gobi for a dry landscape, meaning waterless place. The Mongolian Gobi Desert can be split into 5 different ecoregions, including the Eastern Gobi Desert Steppe, the Alashan Plateau Semi-Desert, the Gobi Lakes Valley Desert Steppe, the Dzungarian Basin Semi-Desert, and the Tian Shan Range. The Gobi Desert is home to the Kongar Sand Dune Sea below. At over 12 kilometers wide, 180 kilometers long, and a height of 80 meters, this is one of the world's biggest and most beautiful sand dunes. The Gobi Desert is slightly different than any other deserts. The Gobi Desert's location in southern Mongolia doesn't mean that it's warm. The Gobi is classified as a cold winter desert. At times you can see frost and snow. The Gobi Desert is cold. So cold that in winter it snows, and frost sometimes covers the dunes. This is due to its northern proximity, and that it lies at around 9101520 meters above sea level. Despite the lack of blistering heat, the Gobi Desert still lies exposed and has some of the most extreme temperatures in the world. Temperatures can change as much as 35 C or 63 F within a 24 hours period. Despite having this bizarre climate situation, Gobi Desert has a good number of populations. Yes, people live in the desert too, although the population of this mega expanse of land is relatively small. Fewer than 3 persons per square mile, in fact. The main Gobi Desert population is Mongols, as well as Han Chinese. Most inhabitants in the Gobi Desert work raising cattle, living a nomadic life. They use traditional living quarters known as Mongolian jerseys and often move around. Besides human being, Gobi Desert also feeds animals. The Gobi Desert is the home to a surprising number of animals. This includes gazelles, polecats, camels, Mongolian wild donkeys, and a whole load of lizards. Occasionally, the Mongolian Gobi Desert is also visited by snow leopards, brown bears, and wolves. This means the animals keep changing their places. However, they are very common in Gobi Desert. The Gobi Desert holds historical importance as well, as it played an important role in history as part of the Great Mongol Empire, serving as the location of several important cities along the Silk Road. This desert provided China with a natural defense against outside forces. Invaders could not invade a region using camels. They needed horses, and travel with horses through the deserts was difficult. However, while the deserts provided a barrier against invasion, they also limited Chinese expansion. Having all these essential characteristics, why China would decide to make a forest out of the renowned Gobi Desert. In current years, Gobi Desert is increasing its deserted land. China has been severely impacted by desertification, with over 1/4 of the country affected by this challenge. Desertification is a type of land degradation whereby previously fertile soil is transformed into arid land. Effectively, it is the process of areas turning into deserts, and the causes are both man-made and climate-induced. While desertification has both natural causes, such as shifts in climate, and human-driven causes, such as the clearing of vegetation, overgrazing, and the depletion of water resources, challenges created by humans are the most prevalent in China, with change threatening to exacerbate these problems. The grasslands of the Gobi Desert are under extreme threat and may one day completely disappear if current practices in the region continue. China has seen 3,600 square kilometers of grassland overtaken every year by the Gobi Desert. The main culprit for the degradation of the grasslands is overgrazing by cattle in the region, whose shearing fetches a high price in the form of cashmere. The problem of overgrazing has become compounded in recent years as more and more people return to an agricultural lifestyle after the destruction of much of the urban economy of Mongolia. Also, the increasing population in Gobi Desert resulting to destroy the trees and woods for shelter. Thus, the desert is expanding and it is entering in China's mainland, which is a serious problem. To stop the situation, China has planned to build a green wall by planting trees, believing that it would stop the desertification. Tree planting has been at the heart of China's environmental efforts for decades as the country seeks to turn barren deserts and marshes near its borders into farmland. Experts say China's reforestation work has become more sophisticated over the years, the government benefiting from decades of experience and able to mobilize thousands of volunteers to plant trees. China is rebuilding the Great Wall, but this time, it is made of trees and it will stop the desert advancing, which is called the Great Green Wall. It will be made out of trees or forests. The Chinese government approved in 1978 the 3 North Shelter Forest Program, the biggest attempt of reforestation ever tried. The term 3 North refers to the 3 regions in North China, and it highlights the commitment of these areas to the problem. Meanwhile, shelter forest refers to the safety belt around the desert that can stop the desert and its sand clouds. It may be the world's biggest environmental plan in place. The plan provides for a wall of trees, with a width of 50 meters and a length of about 4,500 kilometers, with a aim of increasing the forest's coverage from 5% to 15%. Although the plan is not finished yet because they must continue until 2050, we already have the first results. The forest's coverage in the north has effectively increased from 5% to 13.5%. Over the last few years, 13 million hectares of trees have been planted, working as a shelter from the wind, and doing so they could save a portion of the desert. It now seems that desertification is probably starting to stop, and forests are growing faster than the desert. The Great Green Wall, which aimed to halt the creeping of Gobi, finally coming to its success. The decision of building the Green Wall shocked many scientists from different countries. Although the Great Green Wall is reaching to its goal, some scientists have thrown some criticism upon it. Numerous critics have been addressed to the project and its application methods, to the FAO and to the United Nations that support it. They have claimed, people of China are occasionally planting trees, but do not take care of those trees. Precisely speaking, many of the trees that are planted in areas where they do not grow naturally simply perish after a few years. Those that do survive can soak up a lot of the groundwater that the native grasses and shrubs need, causing more soil degradation. If afforestation continually exceeds the land's carrying capacity, it will lead the trees to an eventual death. Thus, it is difficult to determine whether or not the China Green Wall is helping or hurting local ecosystems. To this issue, the World Bank encouraged China to seek quality, not quantity. Moreover, scientists predict that desertification will continue to increase as the Earth's climate changes, proposing the withdrawal of human action and giving the ecosystem enough time to restore itself in the future. Although there are many criticisms, it cannot be unseen that China is literally planting more trees than the whole world. This is important not just from an environmental point of view, but also from a social and economic one. It creates jobs and allows thousands of people to feed themselves, avoiding immigration flows. China's forest scientists argued that monoculture tree plantations are more effective at absorbing the greenhouse gas carbon dioxide than slow-growth forests. So while diversity may be lower, the trees purportedly help to offset China's carbon emissions, which is very necessary. At the end of the day, Mongolia and China's devastating condition will get relief. Having world's largest population, China's decision to build a man-made forest does not seem to be a bad idea. It will be beneficial for the people and China's economy. Let us know about your thoughts in the comments section.